President Trump. Here comes the president.
Hey Yo Yo, shouts to Yo Yo.
So right now, while we wait for the president, it's got taking forever. Cases worldwide, we have 526,590 total cases. The total deaths is 23,812. Recovers 119 and 806. Unresolved is 300,800 382,972. In the United States, currently we have 81,977 cases. New cases, we got 13,630 cases. Deaths, you got 1,175 deaths in the United States. 138 new deaths today. That's a 1.43 percentage of deaths. Whoa. In China, you have 81,285 cases. Out of those, 114 new cases. Deaths, there's 3,287 deaths in China and 10 new deaths in the last day. There's a 4.7 It's a 4% death rate. In Italy, the cases are 80,539, new cases 6,153, deaths is 8,215. Wow, that's a lot of deaths for Italy. New deaths is 712. The ratio is 10% of deaths. Wow. I think here comes the president. You see how they close the door and they open the blue door? That's gangster. That was the most gangster shit I've seen in a minute. When the president comes, they gonna come out of the blue door. Everybody else don't come out of the blue door. That's some gangster shit. I didn't even notice that. There's 56,347 deaths in Spain. I mean cases in Spain, and there's 6,832 new cases. So they're testing like aggressively right now. There's 4,154 deaths and 507 new deaths. There's a 7.37% ratio. Here comes Dr. Briss and Dr. Fauci. So Dr. Fauci's in the building. Now there's a full interview about to start right now. Let's see what the shit show that the president gives us. What's going on, people? Duh. Duh is Dr. Fauci. So the so as we were saying, In Germany, there's 43,000 cases, and here comes the president. Here comes Donald. People we love to hate so much. Yo, why is Lugner so much? Where's the president? Where's the president? The president's coming. Like, bro, he's so stressed out. Let it go, Lugner.
Good what you're doing. Look at all those empty seats. Never seen it like that. Oh boy. World, how the world has changed. How the world has changed, right? But it's going to end up being better than ever. I want to thank you very much for being here, and I'd like to update you on the steps we're taking on our ongoing fight to defeat the virus. This morning at 7:55, I spoke to the leaders of the G20. Had a great meeting, and we have a lot of different ideas, a lot of good ideas. We're working together. The leaders gathered virtually around the world to discuss the whole subject of the problem that right now 151 nations have got. We have President Alberto Fernandez of Argentina, Prime Minister Scott Morrison of Australia, President Jair Bolsonaro of Brazil, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of Canada, President Xi of China, President Emmanuel Macron of France, Chancellor Angela Merkel of Germany, Prime Minister Modi of India, President Widodo of Indonesia, Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte of Italy, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe of Japan. Congratulations to Japan on making a great decision on the Olympics. They'll make it next year, 2021. President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador
Of Mexico?
of Mexico. I want to thank the President of Mexico for having done such a great job with respect to the military. We have 27,000 Mexican soldiers on our southern border, and very few people are getting through, I can tell you that. And we're going to keep it that way. And we have a great relationship with Mexico now. President Putin of Russia, King Salman of Saudi Arabia, President Ramaphosa of South Africa, President Moon of, as you know, a country that we spend a lot of time in, South Korea. We're working very hard on that. Prime Minister Sanchez of Spain, President Erdogan of Turkey.
I just ate that. Get out of here. Get out of here, 30.
Kingdom, President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Council, Charles Michel, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, World Health Organization Director Tedros Adhanom, World Bank President David Malpass, and the International Monetary Fund Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva. So that's a big group, but it's a great group. It's and they were all there, every one of them, and we talked about the problem, and hopefully it won't be a problem for too much longer. The United States is working with our friends and partners around the world to stop the spread of the virus and coordinate our efforts. We discussed how vitally important it is for all of our nations to immediately share information and data, and we've been doing that to a large extent, but we'll do it even more so, and to inform our, I guess you could say, for each of us on the fight that we've got going one way or the other. It's a little bit different, but we're handling it a little bit in different ways. But there is a great uniformity, I think. It was a terrific meeting. Tremendous spirit.
Tremendous spirit.
All those countries, you had 20 countries plus the other people that I mentioned, and tremendous spirit to get this over with. After the meeting with the world leaders, I spoke with the government.
He haven't said nothing dumb yet,
States, and
so I can't roast when he's just.
our team has been in constant communication with the governors, and we had a terrific meeting. Somebody in the fake news said,
Oh, here comes.
I said, "Oh, we need Tom Brady." I said, "Yeah." He meant that in a positive way. He said,
They take mad pictures when they talking about him.
And he's meant very
They shoot that nigga.
Should be leading.
Yo.
That's only fake news, and I like Tom Brady. Spoke to him the other day. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he likes him.
But I wish the news could be real. I wish it could be honest. I wish it weren't corrupt. But so much of it is. It's so sad to see.
It's so sad. So sad. Just so sad.
I'm sure you have tapes of the meeting.
Steve Lugner, Trump's first words at press briefing. Beautiful day. What? You can't say beautiful day?
I mean, there's no contention.
Lugner's obsessed.
I would say maybe one person there was a little tiny bit of a raising of a voice, a little wise guy, a little bit. But he's usually a big wise guy, not so much anymore. We saw to it that he wouldn't be so much anymore, but he is, I would rate Mike was there, a lot of the folks in the back were there. And it was a great meeting, took place at about 12 o'clock. So we went from the G20 to the governors. We also spoke about the economic relief of the governors and the package that we're moving through Congress to deliver much needed financial assistance to hardworking families and small businesses. I want to thank Democrats and Republicans in the Senate.
Yeah, here it is. Like,
passing the largest financial relief package in American history.
we have more cases than China already?
Zero, and I have to say it's the largest by far. And I'm profoundly grateful that both parties came together to provide relief.
We're testing a lot though.
And families in this hour of need.
Yo, China lying, bro.
The House of Representatives must now pass this bill, hopefully without delay. I think it's got tremendous support. We're 96 to nothing, and as you know, a couple of those people are quarantined, and one, Rand Paul, is he's actually got it, but he'll be better soon.
Yeah, he's actually got it. He got that shit. Yeah.
$2.5 billion relief package includes job retention loans for small businesses with loan forgiveness available for businesses that keep their workers on the payroll. It's pretty good. Loan forgiveness, keep the workers on the payroll. It's pretty good. Direct cash payments will be available to American citizens earning less than $99,000 per year, $3,000.
Holy shit. We took over like in the Olympics. Overnight, we just got 81,000 cases. But the thing is, New York is testing and testing. Yo, New York is infected, bro. New York is infected. And stop saying we do. They are infected. They are infected. They communicate like every time. How many times you touch people in the country? You do it a lot because you do a lot of shoes. But in New York, you touch everything. You touch the pole. 400 people touched it in in 1 hour. Like, it's just disgusting. Oh my God, New York is, oh my God, this is so sad. But then China is fucking lying. China already buried 80,000 people, and China put in those 80,000 people, they put in 10 by 10, 10 by 10, 10 by 10, 10 by 10. They just giving a little leak. So fuck you, China. If Trump is saying the China's virus, it is a fucking China virus because they didn't allow our fucking, they didn't allow the medical people, the scientists to go there. Oh, don't touch our country, don't touch our country. So, fuck you, you got all of our patents and you use our patents for all of your shit. Most of the shit is not even yours. If we actually use patent shit, you could not use none of that shit. So fuck you, China. Fuck you, China, for lying to us the whole time. 80,000, 80,000. Look how that shit rose in. More people die in fucking Italy with less than 80,000. They already got 80,000. They're not even that big ass true. Get the fuck out of here, 1 billion motherfucking bullshit ass motherfuckers. I hope y'all motherfuckers go to war soon, cause like this is some bullshit. We cannot let this shit go. We should not be fighting Venezuela right now, but fuck China. Fuck China.
These are really brave, incredible people, I have to say.
Oh, so real shit. Fuck China. Fucking lying about their numbers. Talking about they got 81,285 cases. You got 1 billion people, motherfucker. You have a city of 11 million. Well, meanwhile, New York City has 8.3 million people, and New York City is actually saying the truth. You fucking lying, China. China's a fucking liar, bro.
Accomplish what we want to accomplish.
Just saying it like that.
Has shipped over 9 million N95 masks, 20 million face masks, 3.1 million face shields, nearly 6,000 ventilators, 2.6 million gowns, 14.6 million gloves, and we're sending more every day, and we've got tremendous amounts of equipment coming in. A lot of great companies are making equipment right now. The ventilators, obviously, they take a little longer to make, but we have a lot of companies making, and we're gonna be in great shape. We took over an empty shelf. We took over a very depleted place in a lot of ways. As you know, the testing is going very, very well. And that was obsolete and broken, and we fixed it, and it's been going really good. And I think, very importantly, the stockpile, we're really filling it up, and we fill it up rapidly, but we get it out. Sometimes we have it sent directly to the states instead. And again, the state has to be doing this kind of a thing also. We're sort of we look from behind a little bit, and we look at how they're doing, and if they need help, we do it, but it's their first responsibility. Sometimes they just can't get it, but we load it up and we send it out, but if we can, we have it sent directly to the state. We want it to go directly to the point where we want it. I can now announce something that I think is incredible, what they've done in the Navy, because the incredible naval hospital ship, the USNS Comfort, which is incredible actually when you see it inside, will be underway to New York City on Saturday. So it's going to be leaving on Saturday rather than 3 weeks from now. They did the maintenance quickly, and it was going to be there for quite a while longer, another 3 or 4 weeks, and it should be arriving. I told the governor 20 minutes ago, Governor Cuomo, that the ship will be arriving at New York Harbor on Monday. I think I'm going to go out and I'll kiss it goodbye. I'll go to, it's in Virginia, as you know, and I will go and we'll be waving together, because I suspect the media will be following. John, you gonna be following? Maybe. You never know, huh? Great ship. It's a great vessel, is right. So if you want to go, I'll see you there, and if you don't, that's okay. After being fully loaded with medical supplies, it's loaded up to the top, and it's over at the Norfolk Naval Base. That's where it departs. It is expected then to, we're saving about 3 to 4 weeks by the incredible work done by the Navy, and I actually look forward to Saturday to see it go. The ship will arrive, and I believe it's going to get a little bit of a ceremony. It's just something very beautiful about it. It's an incredible piece of work. We're going to be landing at Pier 90 in Manhattan to provide hospital surge capacity for the New York metropolitan area. So it's a surge capacity. They may use it for this, or they may have other people coming in from hospitals unrelated to the virus, and then they'll use those hospitals on land. They'll use those hospitals for the virus, but we'll see how they do it. They could do it either way, one way or the other, whichever one is best. But it could be because it's set up so well for a regular hospital that they may take people out of hospitals and then use those rooms for the virus. The National Institute of Health and the private sector, working closely with the FDA, continue to collaborate to discover and test treatments and therapies that can effectively reduce the duration and symptoms of the virus and very much help people to recover. And I'm firmly committed to bringing these treatments to market very quickly. We have a lot of tests going on with regard to different medicines, and I hope we get lucky. I hope we hit. A lot of talented scientists and doctors are working on therapeutics, a cure, vaccines. I think we're doing very well. Tony may speak to that a little bit later, but I think we're doing very well with regard to the vaccines. I think we're doing well with regard to a lot of the things I just mentioned, but we'll have to see what happens. We're going to know fairly soon about a lot of them. But it's very advanced, and the vaccines are very advanced prior to, as you know, a fairly reasonably long test period of, in that case, over a year. Every American should be proud of the incredible spirit our country has brought to this effort. It's been incredible. Citizens from all walks of life have come together to turn the tide in this battle. We're witnessing the extraordinary power of American unity like a lot of people have never seen. Even getting a vote, you're talking about trillions of dollars and you get a vote of 96 to nothing. We are waging war on this virus using every financial, scientific, medical, pharmaceutical, and military resource to halt its spread and protect our citizens. I want to express our tremendous thanks to the American people for continuing to practice social distancing like you people are practicing right here. I don't know, this room may never be the same. Maintaining good hygiene and follow government guidelines. Vice President Pence lifts up that card every time. And it's not very complicated, but hopefully you can do that. And your commitment will make all the difference in the world, and that's one of the big ones will be, for a while, stay home. Just relax, stay home. Making a lot of progress. As we continue to gather more information and accelerate the testing, where we're doing record numbers of tests now, far more than any other country has done. I told you yesterday, 8 days here, because you heard so much about South Korea, the media kept covering South Korea, South Korea. We have a great relationship with President Moon in South Korea. But when I hear so much about South Korea, so in 8 days, we do more testing than they did in 8 weeks. And it's a very highly sophisticated test. We'll be able to deploy even more data-driven and targeted approaches to slowly, ultimately, it's a very devastating thing, but we will vanquish this virus.
But we've been testing a lot of people. How the hell we got 81,000 cases?
That's why earlier today I sent a letter to America's governors describing how we will be using the data to update existing guidance on social distancing, which will be developed in close coordination with our nation's public health officials and scientists. Because of the sacrifices of our great doctors and nurses and healthcare professionals, the brilliance of our scientists and researchers, and the good.
Well, that's also, it's selfish because New York is like, we need them all. Like Governor Cuomo literally said, if somebody's paying $6, we're paying $10. Okay, New York. How about if you're Arkansas? Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. But how about if you're Mississippi? How about if you're Mississippi? And they don't have the budget. The budget of Mississippi is probably the budget of the Bronx.
They don't have 1,200 people.
It doesn't matter. There's still people. So like,
These people are going to be alive.
I know they do. I know because I sympathize as a New Yorker, but as a person of 50 states, it's like damn.
Needs all the resources because that's where you keep them all.
I just want to leave it with you.
But they also price gouging and buying those price gouging
They
prices.
should be. That's what Cuomo does. That's what a good government would do for their state if they're federal.
Yeah, but it's money.
Send them 500 ventilators when they needed 40,000. Yes, he's going to be the price for
And washing your hands and not shaking hands and all of the things that we talk about so much, but they have to go back to work. Our country has to go back. Our country is based on that. And I think it's going to happen pretty quickly. I think it's going to happen pretty quickly. A lot of progress is made, but we got to go back to work. We may take sections of our country, we may take large sections of our country that aren't so seriously affected, and we may do it that way, but we've got to start the process pretty soon. So we'll be talking to you a little bit more about that next week. And with that, if you have any questions, you could ask, and then I'm going to have Vice President stay behind, and he's going to take questions and also introduce some of the people. You can ask them some questions. John, please.
Mr. President, unemployment numbers outstanding 2.3 million. I think it's not a surprise, but it's still a staggering number. What are your perspective on it?
Well, it's nobody's fault, certainly not in this country. Nobody's fault. We got very lucky when we made a decision not to allow people in from China at a very early date. I say that because some people don't want to accept it, but this was a great decision made by our country. Or the numbers that you're talking about, we're a big country, they'd be far greater, far bigger. So when I heard the number, I heard it could be 6 million, it could be 7 million, it's 3.3 or 3.2. but it's a lot of jobs, but I think we'll come back very strong. The sooner we get back to work, you know, every day that we stay out, it gets harder to bring it back very quickly. And people don't want to stay out. So I know those numbers, John, but I think you'll see a very fast turnaround once we have a victory over the hidden enemy, as I say. It's a hidden enemy. Sometimes a hidden enemy is a lot tougher than somebody that stares you in the face, right? So we'll see what happens, but I mean, they're fully expected numbers, at least, Steve, please.
Proposal to deploy some troops along the Canadian border.
Yeah.
And I think people are complaining about that. Why is that necessary?
Well, we have very strong deployments on the southern border, as you know, with Mexico, and we had some troops up in Canada, but I'll find out about that. I guess it's equal justice to a certain extent, but in Canada we do have troops along the border. You know, we have a lot of things coming in from Canada. We have trade, some illegal trade that we don't like. We have very strong sanctions on some. We have very strong tariffs on dumping steel, and we don't like steel coming through our border that's been dumped in Canada, so they can avoid the tariff. You know, I charge a lot of tariff for the steel, and it's been great for our steel companies because now they can really go. You look at what's happened with steel; it's been pretty incredible. But we've taken in billions and billions of dollars in tariffs on steel, and much of it comes in from China, but they can come through the Canadian border too. So we're always watching for that.
Numbers correctly, the United States now has surpassed China as the country with the highest number of virus cases. Does this surprise you at all? Is it following a predictable trajectory?
No, I think it's a tribute to our testing. You know, number one, you don't know what the numbers are in China. China tells you the numbers, and I'm speaking to President Xi tonight, I believe. We'll have a good conversation, I'm sure. But you just don't know, you know, what are the numbers. But I think it's a tribute to the testing. We're testing tremendous numbers of people. And every day, the way the system works, and I want to thank especially Roche, has been fantastic, great company. They've done a tremendous amount. Deborah was telling me before that they've really stepped up to the plate and done great, as have other of the companies, but it seems that they're really doing particularly well. You know, we'll see what happens there, but it's a tribute to the amount of testing that we're doing. We're doing tremendous testing, and I'm sure you're not able to tell what China is testing or not testing. I think that's a little hard.
Mr. President, on the 3.3 jobless claims, you just suggested you could 6 to 7 million.
A lot of those were
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I said some people were projecting that it would be 6 or 7, and it's, I believe, 3.3.
Millions of Americans out of work. Some of them will be losing their insurance. What's your plan to make sure, through no fault of your own, as you just mentioned, that they stay insured? Are you willing to plus up the subsidies for some of the exchanges under Obamacare, expand Medicaid? What's being considered?
So, I mean, the things I just read to you are being considered, and other things are being considered. People are going to be getting paychecks, and it's not their fault. What happened to them is not their fault. So we're doing a lot of different things on health insurance. We have meetings on it today. We're taking care of our people. This is not their fault, what happened, and we're taking care. We're starting off by sending them very big checks. I think for a family of 4, it's about $3,000. And we're taking care of our people. We're taking care of our workers. This was not, you know, as I say, this was not a financial crisis. This was a health crisis, a medical crisis. We're going to take care of our people. Please. Yeah. Yes.
National Restaurant Association came out, National Restaurant Association with a survey this morning saying that 3% of all restaurants in this country have shuttered for good in the past 3 weeks. And the projection is that 11% more are going to close in the next 30 days. So what do you say to a restaurant owner who is looking at his sheets and thinks he has to close within the next 30 days?
Well, I know the business very well. I understand the restaurant business. It's a very delicate business. It's a business that is not easy. You know, I always say in the restaurant business, you can serve 30 great meals to a person or a family, and they love it. One bad meal, number 31, they never come back again. It's a very tough business, but they're great people that run restaurants. And I've heard 3% could be lost, and you could go as high as 10 or 11%. But they'll all come back in one form or another. It might be a different restaurant, but it's gonna be a great business for a lot of people, and we're making it easy for people to look what we're doing in terms of loans, what we're doing in terms of salaries. They'll all come back. It may not be the same restaurant, may not be the same ownership, but they'll all be back. Yes, sir, please.
So you mentioned the pledges from American companies to provide supplies, but does it get, as to the top 81,000 cases in the US, does it make sense to relook at using the Defense Production Act?
Well, I talked about the Defense Production Act a lot, and I've enacted it. I have it. I can do it with a pen. And we have actually used it on 2 minor occasions, and then we could withdraw it. But for the most part, the companies, we don't need it. We say we need this, and they say don't bother, we're going to do it. I mean, we're dealing with Ford, General Motors, 3M, we're dealing with great companies. They want to do this. They want to do this. They're doing things that frankly, they don't need somebody to walk over there with a hammer and say, do it. They are getting it done. They're making tremendous amounts of equipment, tremendous amounts. And when this is over, we're going to be fully stockpiled, which they would have never been, except for a circumstance. This was something that nobody has ever thought could happen to this country. I'm not even blaming. Look, we inherited a broken situation, but I don't totally blame the people that were before me in this administration. Nobody would have ever thought a thing like this could have happened. But the Production Act, Defense Production Act, is a wonderful thing, but I just haven't had to use it. They know it's activated. They know I can use it. Maybe that frightens them a little bit. It's got tremendous power, but I haven't had to. Please.
Thanks, sir. Question for me, and then another question, if you'll let me, for some of my colleagues who are social distancing.
Yeah, we're outside trying to get in.
First question has to do with cruise liners like Carnival and Royal Caribbean. They want this relief aid, but they're worried that because they offshore to places like Panama and Liberia, they might not qualify. Senator Hawley has said that they should move back to the United States before they get a check. Do you agree? Should they pay U.S. taxes to get U.S. taxpayer relief?
So I'm a big fan of Senator Hawley, and I also like the idea. There were some senators that didn't want to do anything, like Carnival, a great company, but they're based in different places. I won't tell you where. I can tell you exactly where they're based, but I won't do that. But they're based in actually more than one place. As you know, ships are registered in different locations. I do like the concept of perhaps coming in and registering here, coming into the United States. It's very tough to make a loan to a company when they're based in a different country. But with that being said, there are thousands and thousands of people that work there, and maybe almost as importantly, that work on shore, filling these ships with goods and products. And the cruise line business is very important. And I know Carnival, what a great job they do, Mickey Harrison. And I would think that we could stick with Senator Hawley and maybe really look at that very seriously. Look, it's a big business, it's a great business, it's a business that employs tremendous number of people outside of the ship itself. I mean, you look at these ports, it's loaded up with shops and people that are involved with the ship. So we're going to work very hard on the cruise line business, and we're going to try and work something out. But I like the concept. Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks, sir. The Senate bill includes aid that's directly tied to
Yeah, because they registering other countries.
the pandemic.
What are the other countries doing to?
Losses of 737 airplanes. Do you think it's appropriate to use this legislation to sort of provide them with $17 billion of aid on top of $25 billion that they could qualify for as a passenger airline, and another $4 billion that they could qualify for as a cargo airline? Is that fair?
So the airline business is a very tough business. Over many years, it's been very, very tough. It's got everything. It's got labor. It's got very strong, powerful. You look at the cost of these airliners. Everything is tough. Very highly technological. You look at how complicated, how complex. It's got unions. It's got everything. The airline business, generally speaking, it's a very tough business. Always been a very tough business. With that being said, we have to keep our airlines going. And we're going to be using some. Now, maybe we'll take a piece of the airlines for a country where we loan money and we take a piece. It's all fully ready. We're ready to go. But if we didn't do that, we'd end up with no airlines, and we can't do that. The airline business is very vital to our country. It's a tough business, we have to understand that. So I can tell you other businesses that are different kinds of business. They're very good businesses, but airlines have always been very, very tough. Please. No, please. I didn't call you a cold, just general.
Thank you, thanks a lot. On Monday, did you speak with you? I'm with Bloomberg.
Yeah.
Bloomberg, Mario
How's Michael doing? Good.
Mr. President, on Monday, did you speak with Chinese President Xi before you urged Americans to not blame Asian Americans for the coronavirus? We noticed that you backed off that language. I know you're speaking with him.
No, I didn't. I'm speaking to him tonight. It's scheduled to go tonight. I'll call with President Xi of China. Very good relationship. No, I didn't like when they came up, and it wasn't him. Somebody at a lower level, mid-level, we found out pretty much, but they made a statement that our soldiers brought it into China. No, it came from China. And, we just signed a very big deal with China. They're paying us a lot of money in tariffs and other things. They never paid us 10 cents. Look, China has taken advantage of the United States until I came here with Sleepy Joe Biden and Obama and Bush and everybody else. I'm not blaming them, I'm blaming everybody. They were allowed to, $500 billion a year they were taking out. We had trade deficits that were so large, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And we've changed it. Look, now we're taking that in billions of dollars, and we gave some to our farmers because China, they targeted our farmers. And our farmers are very happy, and our farmers have a very well period because of what I was able to do. Took the money from China and gave it to the farmers, and we had plenty left over after that. Now we're going into a phase 2 negotiation with China, but we're getting 25% on $250 billion, and then we're getting a lot on money after that. So we've never had to deal with China. China took advantage of the United States, and you know what? I don't blame China for that. I blame the people that were right here because they should have never allowed it to happen. But the relationship with China has been a very good one. John?
Mr. President, did President Xi ask you to calm that language down or to not use that?
He never asked me to comment. Somebody might have spoken to somebody, but nobody spoke to me about it. I think it was time though, because I talk about the Chinese virus. And I mean it, that's where it came from. If you look at Ebola, if you look at Lyme, right? Lyme, Connecticut, you look at all these different horrible diseases, they seem to come with the name, with the location. And this was the Chinese virus. But I don't have to say it if they feel so strongly about it. We'll see. But we just made a great deal with China. Great, hopefully for both parties.
China lied about his numbers, man. China's lying about those numbers. 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 China's lying. China's lying about those numbers. China's lying about those numbers. China. China lying about those numbers. China lying about those numbers. China lying.
But I think we're doing
lying,
China. All of the advantages that we have right now because we've made unbelievable trade deals, whether it's Mexico, Canada, Japan, South Korea, China, and others. We have changed the whole thing around.
China lying about those numbers.
Notification letter to the nation's governor saying that you will soon come out with new guidelines about social distancing and other items. Do you have any data yet to suggest which specific areas of the country may have their guidelines relaxed? Which areas of the country may have their guidelines?
I think Joe will talk to you about that, and Tony in a few minutes, but I think we'll start talking about that because we have to open up. We can't say, let's close. People don't want to close, John. I say it again and again. The reason I do, because I want you to report it eventually. Go ahead, Steve. Go ahead, Steve.
President Xi, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, it's his call. I mean, I'll talk to him whenever he wants to. I mean, we'll have, I think, a very...
It's 6 o'clock.
Have a good call. Tonight at 9 o'clock, please. Yes, in the back. We'll be talking about that. Yeah, we'll be talking about the balance.
Thank you,
Yeah, okay, in the back first, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Despite the jobless claim numbers today, the market rallied again. It's up over 4,000 points in the last 3 days.
Yeah.
The since 1931. Do you think that the economic uncertainty has passed?
No, not yet. It hasn't passed, but it's come a long way. I think they think we're doing a really good job in terms of running this whole situation having to do with the virus. I think they feel that, the administration, myself and the administration are doing a good job of keeping very important people informed, because it was a great feeder. And a lot of good things are happening. The mortality rate is at in my opinion, you have to speak to Deborah, Tony, all of the others, but in my opinion, it's way, way down. And that takes a lot of fear out. You know, it's one thing to have it, it's another thing to die. You know, when I first got involved, I was being told numbers that were much, much higher than the number that seems to be. And remember that people that have it, many people have it. I just spoke to 2 people, they had it, they never went to a doctor. They had it, absolutely had it, but they never went to a doctor. They never went to anything, they didn't report it. You have thousands and hundreds of thousands of cases like that. So you have to add that to the caseload also. And the people that actually die, that percentage is a much lower percentage than I ever thought. That's one of the reasons I say, look, we're gonna beat this and we're gonna get back to work. Yes, please.
Administration today, the DOJ announced charges against Nicola Maduro for drug trafficking. They designated him as a narco-terrorist. It's also expected that Venezuela's going to get really hard by the coronavirus. Does the administration see this as a weak point for the Maduro regime?
We don't look at it a weak point. This is a serious problem for over 150 nations, the virus. I would say this, Maduro and Venezuela, we're watching it very closely. We'll see what happens. But that is correct, those charges were made. Please.
That he used the Defense Production Act on 2 minor occasions. What were those?
We will give you that notification. We'll let you know. Okay?
Can I follow up on John's question about the classifying for counties? A lot of these areas have not done testing yet. Is it safe to say that the current guidelines will be extended into next week? Will you wait to change those guidelines until you have the data yet?
I want those guidelines to go even when we're open and fully operational. And frankly, much of the guidelines, like shaking hands, maybe people aren't going to be shaking hands anymore. You know, Tony had mentioned to me, Tony Fauci, the other day that I don't think he would be too upset with the concept of not shaking hands. He was saying that the flu would cut down, the regular flu would be cut down by quite a bit if we didn't do that, if we didn't shake hands. You know, the regular flu, which we have a lot of deaths and a lot of problems with that too.
Stop shaking hands.
A lot of great things are gonna, when we're open, just to finish, when we're open, as soon as we open, that doesn't mean you're gonna stop with the guidelines. You'll still try and distance yourself, maybe not to the same extent because you have to lead a life. But I think the time is coming. How about one more question? Go ahead, in the back, please.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Go ahead, please.
President. I also have 2 questions because I'm asking on behalf of foreign press as well. So one domestic question, one international. Domestically, you just tweeted the other day saying that it's very important that we totally protect Asian Americans.
Yes, I did. It's very important to me.
But still
Very
millions.
important to me. We have to protect our Asian Americans. That was a very important tweet to me because I didn't like things that I was hearing. Please go ahead.
Well, what's the concrete measure that you're taking to combat the hate crimes against Asians?
Well, I don't know. All I know is this: Asian Americans in our country are doing fantastically well. I'm very close to them, as you know, and they're doing fantastically well. And I think they appreciate the job we're doing. But I did want to put that statement out, the social media statement. Because to me, Asian Americans are a great part of our country. Thank you all very much. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
I like that he leaves the press conference.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. The White House Coronavirus Task Force met today. We continue to move out on President Trump's directive to slow the spread with mitigation, and to advance and expand testing across the country, and to work on critical supplies that our healthcare workers in our nation needs. Today, the President convened the nation's governors, all of the states and territories and reiterated to them that with FEMA in the lead, our approach is our response to the coronavirus in this country is locally executed, healthcare workers, local public health officials. It is state managed, and it is federally supported. We took the opportunity to thank all of the governors across the country, our states and territories, for their incredible leadership and the partnership they forged with this administration. We were able to confirm that 10 major disaster declarations have been issued, most recently to New Jersey, North Carolina, Florida, Texas, and Illinois. We spoke to them about the importance of the economic recovery legislation that will come before the House of Representatives, we believe, tomorrow midday. And we're grateful for their efforts in working for that unanimous bipartisan vote in the United States Senate last night. In addition to direct payments for American families, the average family of 4 will receive a direct payment of some $3,400. They'll also receive payroll report. Many of the small businesses, even those restaurants that you just spoke about, will now be able to keep people on the payroll for a period of months, even if the restaurant or the business is not open. With the governors, though, we talked about the $150 billion in direct aid to the states, $100 billion in direct assistance to hospitals, and of course the expansion of unemployment benefits to make sure that our states have the resources to meet the challenges that were so evident in those unemployment numbers this morning. On the subject of testing, pleased to report the testing is available in all 50 states. And in partnership with commercial labs across America, this morning we received word that 552,000 tests have been performed and completed all across the United States. We want to thank the American Hospital Association and hospitals across the country that are just now beginning to report in a fulsome way the results of those tests. When the President signs the law tomorrow, it will actually be required by law. But as Dr. Birx and Dr. Fauci have explained many times at this podium, it's so important that any hospital or any lab that's doing testing report back to the CDC and FEMA so we have full visibility to provide the President with the very best counsel. Good news today on testing. Abbott Laboratories submitted to the FDA today a request for approval of a point-of-care test. This would be the kind of test where you could go to your doctor and you could get the test done there at your doctor and have the results in no more than 15 minutes. Dr. Steve Hahn will be here tomorrow to talk about progress in evaluating Abbott Laboratories' point-of-care test. Also, speaking of the FDA, on the subject of swabs, the FDA did announce earlier this week that testing symptomatic patients by swabbing from the front of the nose is perfectly appropriate, and it's already begun across the country. It allows for self-collection, and it also relieves the burden on healthcare protection. It saves personal protective equipment from being expended when people can administer a test themselves. And Dr. Birx will speak about the importance and the availability of swabs. With regard to supplies, you heard the President speak about what we have already shipped out from the National Strategic Stockpile. More than 9 million N95 masks for healthcare workers, 20 million surgical masks, 6,000 ventilators, and millions of gloves and gowns and face shields. In addition to that, we are working with a number of suppliers to manufacture ventilators, even while we work with state leaders to assess not just what ventilators are available in their state hospitals, but what ventilators are available in private hospitals across their state. And governors across the country are doing great work evaluating the full supply of tens of thousands of ventilators that are available. Let me also say thank you to the American Society of Anesthesiologists and Dr. Mary Peterson. The American Society of Anesthesiologists actually produced a video. Tomorrow they will host a webinar for healthcare workers to demonstrate how the devices that anesthesiologists use can be very easily converted into a ventilator that's appropriate for a patient struggling with respiratory ailment like the coronavirus. And we're very grateful. This actually adds tens of thousands of devices to the supply And we're all truly grateful to Dr. Peterson and the whole association for their full cooperation. With 5 of 10 counties in the country being the top counties for coronavirus being in the New York City metropolitan area, let us reiterate our recommendation that any resident of the greater New York City area who has traveled elsewhere in the United States, please check your temperature, mind your health, and self-isolate for 14 days. What we don't want, again, with 5 of the top 10 counties for coronavirus being in the greater New York City area, we don't want anyone to inadvertently carry the coronavirus to a community or to a family member inadvertently because they've come out of that community. So again, as Dr. Fauci said recently, if you come out of New York over the last several weeks, before the mitigation measures are put into effect, in particular, check your temperature, mind your health, and self-isolate for 14 days. It is inspiring as I prepare to introduce Dr. Birx to talk about the data that we're monitoring on a regular basis, and Dr. Fauci to talk about mitigation. Let me conclude by saying how inspiring it is to see the way America and the American people are responding to this moment. We all were awakened this morning with record unemployment numbers, not unexpected during the time of national crisis.
These that you see, they all have COVID. The frustrating thing about all of this is it really just feels like it's too little too late. Like we knew it was coming.
Employees working with patients.
Today is
and
kind of getting worse and worse.
Workers.
We
And Pizza Hut
had
told
to
us
get
we're going to
a
hire more than
refrigerated
30,000
truck
permanent
to store the
employees.
bodies.
And that's just a short summary of a list that totals almost 500,000 jobs that have been announced by businesses around America. And it's not just been about jobs, it's been about generosity. Anheuser-Busch is making a $5 million donation to the American Red Cross to support first responders. OYO Hotels is offering doctors, nurses, and first responders free rooms at any of their 300 hotels all across America. And the pharmaceutical company, AbbVie, is actually donating $25 million to the International Medical Corps and to Feeding America. American businesses are stepping up to partner with us to meet this moment, but they're being incredibly generous as well to all of those that are stepping in the lead and providing healthcare services and, of course, to those most in need. We can do this, America, but it'll take all of us. As the President often says, we're all in this together. But as millions of Americans do their part, with 15 days to slow the spread, putting into practice the President's guidelines for combating the coronavirus and its spread, we grow more confident every day that this too shall pass. With the cooperation and generosity and prayers of the American people, I just know that we will slow the spread, we will protect our most vulnerable, and we will heal our land. And now for information, the latest on data and what we're seeing, Dr. Deborah Birx.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. So just as a summary of where it looks domestically, I won't talk so much about the global issues at this time. We do have 19 out of our 50 states, to be reminded, that had early cases but have persistently low level of cases, and at this point have less than 200 cases. So that's almost 40% of the country with extraordinarily low numbers. And they are testing. Some of our governors have been very adamant about their need for test kits. We have gotten them test kits. When we had Abbott add about a week ago to the test kits, we've been able to open up additional test kits for states that want to do surveillance and want to do contact tracing. These 19 states are doing still active containment. They're at 200 cases despite the fact that they've been measuring them over the last 3 to 4 weeks. Still though, 55% of all cases and 55% of all new cases continue out of the New York metro area. That's the New Jersey part and New York part in particular. I haven't added in Connecticut or other counties at this point. We are concerned about certain counties that look like they're having a more rapid increase. When you look at Wayne County in Michigan and you look at Cook County in Chicago, So we have integrated all of our information to not only look at where the cases are today, but how they're moving, so we can alert FEMA to where we think the next potential hotspot is. All of the counties that I mentioned, the hotspots are in urban areas or in the communities that serve that urban area. And I think
That's crazy.
that's something very important to remember as we move forward. Because of the innovation within our private sector, we continue to have these new platforms added for laboratory testing. And these become critical platforms for states that have very low rates and very low rates needed to test. Why is that important? Some of these machines have wells and plastic plates that
All the patients in this room, all the feet that you see, they all have COVID. The frustrating thing about all of this is it really just feels like it's too little too late, like we knew. All the patients in this room, all the feet that you see, they all have COVID. The frustrating thing about all of this is it really just feels like it's too little too late, like we knew.
What the fuck?
We
Slow. Jesus Christ.
knew it was coming.
Today's kind of getting worse and worse. We had to get a refrigerated truck to store the
All the patients in this room, all the feet that you see, they all have COVID. The frustrating thing about all of this is it really just feels like it's too little too late, like we knew. We knew it was coming.
today's kind of getting worse and worse. We had to get a refrigerated truck to store additional ventilators or even CPAP machines. If we could get CPAP machines, we could free up ventilators for patients who need them. Five ventilators. Oh my God.
You know, we now have these 5 vents. We probably, unless people die, I suspect we'll be back to needing to beg for ventilators again in another day or two. There's a mythical 100 vents out there, which we haven't seen. Leaders in various offices, from the president to the head of health and hospitals, saying things like, we're going to be fine, everything's fine. And from our perspective, everything is not fine. I don't have the support that I need, and even just the materials that I need physically to take care of my patients. And it's America, and we're supposed to be a first world country. On a regular day, my emergency department's volume is pretty high. It's about 200 people a day. Now we're seeing 400 or more people a day. At first, we were trying to isolate patients with cough and fever and be more careful around them, but we weren't necessarily being extra careful around all the other patients. And we're supposed to be a first world country. On a regular day, my emergency department's volume is pretty high. It's about 200 people a day. Now we're seeing 400 or more people a day. At first, we were trying to isolate patients with cough and fever and be more careful around them, but we weren't necessarily being extra careful around all the other patients. And then we started to realize that patients who were coming in with no fever but abdominal pain actually had findings on their x-rays and chest CTs that were consistent with this coronavirus, COVID-19. So if someone in a car accident gets brought in, and we get a CT scan of them, and their lungs look like they have coronavirus. We were seeing a lot of patients who probably had COVID, but we didn't realize.
The mayor just said that almost 4 million people are gonna have coronavirus, half of the city.
And a few of the attending physicians got sick. The anxiety of this situation is really overwhelming. You know, all of the doctors, it's hard for us to get tested even if we want to, even if we have symptoms. We're exposed over and over again. We don't have the protective equipment that we should have. I put on one N95 mask in the morning. I need to have that N95 mask on for every patient I see. I don't take it off all day. The N95 mask I wore today is also the N95 mask I wore on Friday. We're always worried that we'll be out of N95 masks.
Yo, this thing is so slow.
What's a little bit scary now is the patients that we're getting are much sicker.
many of the young people who are getting sick don't smoke. They're healthy. They have no comorbidities. They're just young, regular people between the ages of 30 and 50 who you would not expect to get this sick. So many people are saying it's going to be okay, everything's fine, we have what we need. And if this goes on for a month or 2 or 3 or 5 like it did in China, and we're already this strained, we don't have what we need. I don't really care if I get in trouble for speaking to the media. I want people to know that this is bad. People are dying. We don't have the tools that we need in the emergency department and in the hospital to take care of them. And it's really hard.
Fucking pig, the real people want to get back to work ASAP. You never worked a fucking day in your life. You're worried about the next 4 years. You need to be worried about the next 4 days, motherfucker. You need to be worried about the next 4 weeks, the next 4 months, you motherfucker. You are the worst possible motherfucker we could have in power making decisions right now. The real people want to get back to work. Why don't you send your fucking son, Dick Stain Donald Trump Jr., Big Tooth fucking Eric Trump, little fucking Barron, fucking Ivanka, Junkyard Jared. Let them go out there and test the fucking waters. Let them see if shit is sweet. Let them take the cars, the trains, the buses, the Amtraks. Let them play in the park, and everything's good. If everything's good after 5 days of them playing out there in the street, we'll all go back there. You want to make the American people guinea pigs so you can get reelected? You fucking clown. And people, if you fall for this shit, shame on you. If you still fall for this shit, shame on you. This guy doesn't give a fuck about anybody but himself. He's talking about the next 4 years. Motherfucker, we're trying to figure out what to do with the next 4 hours, you fucking pimp. You con man. You 2-bit, good-for-nothing pimp.
Man, you're really mad. I don't know why people are so mad at the president. What have he done to you guys that you guys are so mad at him? It's like Lana said, the internet is overwhelmed.
So they had all the masks and ventilators and all this equipment in the Federal Reserve Fund or wherever they have it reserved for emergencies, and they didn't send it to New York right away. They just fucking sent it. They let thousands of people die in New York because they couldn't fucking do their job earlier on time. I agree, this president is a fucking cunt. Thousands of people died in New York because there was nothing to treat them with in no ventilators. And all that shit was sitting in the Federal fucking Reserve. They had it all reserved. Come.
Upwork has the world's largest network of independent professionals with experience for any scope. It's like having a top-rated developer right here. What are you working on? PHP, HTML? It's Rust. Rust. Yeah, it's syntactically similar to our mobile UI designer in here. Mike, Steve wants to go back to V1. And a project manager to keep things moving. When you need in-demand town on demand, Upwork is how.
Almost spilled the almost milk. Chobani oat tastes like milk without the dairy.
And we're live, Joey Diaz. My brother. How you feeling? Like I'm a new fucking man, rested. You look, I know, rested, right? Rested, very rested. I looked at this as a reset button. As soon as I came back from Vegas, I knew what time it was. February 29th was at 50% capacity.
Yeah, we were there a week later. We were there when Tommy was at the Mirage. And the UFC had their Vegas, the Las Vegas card. It was a ghost town. Not even half full. I mean, a week after you were at 50% capacity. You're probably dropping less than that.
30. It was at 30.
But the UFC was packed.
It was packed.
Yeah.
Packed. And then I came to the Comedy Store March 2nd, and that's when I could smell it in the fucking air. When I went into the green room, bro, and I saw all those people in the green room, I basically had a fucking panic attack. Yeah, and I went right to the door. There's a street door.
Yeah.
In the back of the Eddie Murphy door. If he comes back, that's what we'll call it, the Eddie Murphy door. Because how else is he gonna get in and out of that?
Yeah, they're gonna have to have guards to get in.
So I went to the Eddie Murphy door and I stayed there, and you could just see people in the audience like nothing was going on, and I just got like I was shattered by Saturday. And remember, I was supposed to be in New York for St. Patty's Day. And the Monday before, I was supposed to be in New York the 16th and 17th with a show at Nyack on the 12th. And I saw it happening. I went to a doctor for a shot on my knee to get the gel for the arthritis. And they said that you might have a weird reaction to it. And sure enough, Tuesday I went to boxing class, and the guy goes, "Dog, your leg is bruised." So I had a little bruising on my leg. And I got home, and that night on the news, it had hit New Rochelle. And I go, wait a second, New Rochelle and Nyack, they're like fucking neighbors. You know, my memory might not serve me right, but in my mind, that's all close. It's all pretty on top of everything. So I sent a letter to picture of my knee to the producers, and I said, I'm not coming in, because they want me to come in Thursday for wardrobe. And then I was just gonna sit in my hotel room for 2 days, you know, put a jersey and eat, shit like that.
So even during all this, they were still planning on filming. And this is for the Sopranos movie.
Mm-hmm. So we were gonna do a couple of shoots, reshoots, not reshoots, and extra scenes.
Right.
That Tuesday when I got home, New Rochelle, I sent them a picture of my knee and said, I'm not getting on a plane till Friday. I want the swelling to go down. But it doesn't take a fucking, I got a GED. And when I was in New York City in May, I went by the garden to eat lunch. I wanted to get out of my hotel room. I went to the garden. On the side, you could sit there at 12 o'clock and they have everything, steak sandwiches, whatever you want. Pretty fucking good too.
Trucks?
No, they have a building that has foods inside, and they have some truck, and you could sit outside, fucking beautiful. But while I was sitting there, it was a Tuesday. I was off from shooting, and I remember calling my wife and specifically saying, I like it here and everything, but if Godzilla comes out of the Hudson River, where are all these people gonna go?
Yeah.
If you sit in New York City in Manhattan, like on the 50s, and just sit there at a cafe, you could estimate, I mean, it's like maybe 10,000 for every 10 minutes that you sit there, people that walk by you. We don't have that foot traffic in LA like there's in New York. There's a little bit of foot traffic downtown, but Sunset Strip, that ship sailed. You don't see people walking around the Sunset Strip, Hollywood Boulevard, but not to the dense population, not to the numbers of New York. So it was a no fucking brain. This is a GDP here. This is me sitting there going, this is gonna happen. I just kept cutting it down. And my biggest fear was going to the East Coast and getting stuck.
It could happen.
I would have to buy a truck, a Cadillac, and drove back. I was already prepared. Like I was like, I'm gonna buy a truck and drive back.
Do you think you could do that drive? That's a long ass fucking drive.
I could do that. I've done that drive 20 times.
What is it, 5 days?
5 days, 4 days.
There's what, 4 days you gotta do like what, 16 hours a day?
Yeah.
It's hard to stay awake.
I did Colorado, New Jersey, like the back of my hand.
How far is that?
Like early 80s, 3.
What is it from here to Colorado? Like here to Denver?
I think 16.
16. Here to Utah, Salt Lake is 10?
10.
That's a good one.
That's
a good escape. That's a good escape.
Have you done that?
No, I have not. But I've done Vegas multiple times, right? Vegas is about 4.5.
4.5, yeah.
And then you go another 6-ish, somewhere in that range, you get to Salt Lake, depending on traffic. Salt Lake, you go to Salt Lake City at 5 in the afternoon, like, oh fuck, rush hour. Hey, where's the cars? They just fly by. There's no one there.
There's nobody there. Now it took me 10 minutes.
I thought Salt Lake City was like millions. I thought it was like millions of people. It's not millions. What did we figure it out, Jamie? Is there a couple 100,000? Yeah,
What a cool fucking place.
I love it. I love Salt Lake City.
What a
So
cool
with the
fucking
radios.
place.
The more I put a stake on it.
Nobody knows a thing about things. They got reefer, bombs, grenades.
Great Mexican food.
Great food.
Did you go to that one? There's this one famous Mexican joint.
I saw a lizard. I was walking around and some guy goes, Joey Diaz, I got the perfect spot for you. He seemed cool.
Hey, Corona Stunners in the building. Corona Stunners in the building. Shout outs to Corona Stunner.
It says estimated is 200K, but
That's
the
nothing.
metro area is 1.2 million. So
Yeah, that's like, that goes all the way out to the mountains. 1.2 million.
That's nothing.
Yeah, that's nothing.
No.
200,000 in the city.
When you see those people, like, that's, you know, I started hearing cancel Coachella. I'm like, cancel Coachella. They're too fucking greedy to cancel Coachella. So, old people, that's what's in Palm Springs.
Well, once they cancel South by Southwest, I was like, whoa, this is crazy. The store was planning on keeping the OR open, and they canceled my show in the main room. They offered me a spot in the OR. I was like, I don't think we should be doing shows. Like, this doesn't seem like, this seems like it's getting real. It's like, because if you make a mistake, and there's a 14-day period where all these people can get infected, who the fuck knows who gets infected during those 14 days? Because we didn't know what it was yet. And still we don't know what it is. It's still strange because so many people, Idris Elba apparently is asymptomatic. He's not showing any symptoms and he has asthma. And I was reading something, find out if this is true, that somewhere in the neighborhood of 60% of the people are asymptomatic. And I wonder if that means they never show symptoms, or I wonder if that means they're asymptomatic for a certain period of time. So 60% of the people infected are asymptomatic, but a certain percentage of those people will ultimately get the cold or get the cough and all the terrible symptoms, the fever.
Because you really ask, listen, you know a lot of people, and I know a lot of people, and nobody's called me yet.
That has it? I have. Michael Yo. Michael Yo was almost dead. Michael Yo went to New York City, did Gotham. He came back. He got real sick. Yes. He got pneumonia and the COVID-19 at the same time. So he got coronavirus and pneumonia. And he said, now 6 days ago, I talked to him 2 days ago. He said 4 days before that, he thought he was going to die. He's like, I couldn't breathe. Pneumonia and this coronavirus. I think this motherfucker, when it like plays with you, if you don't have it, if you don't get it, you can kind of like go, oh, well, this is no big deal. But if you do get it, it fucking grabs you. Like Jamie knows a girl who's 21 who lost her sense of smell and taste. And it wrecks people. We were Googling a story about this Olympic swimmer from South Africa, 31, stud athlete, Olympic swimmer. He said this virus fucked him up. He said it was the worst thing he's ever experienced. So it's weird. It's like it almost like plays with our mind. Like it makes some people seem like they're immune and some people are fine and maybe it's you. Take a chance. Go outside. Take a chance. Go to a restaurant. Take a chance. Go to the beach. Let's go to the beach. What's the worst thing that can happen?
Crack those asshole.
And then
go deep. Fuck it.
And then boom, a bunch of people in your family get it, and then boom, your grandma dies.
Look at Italy. You know what happened in Italy? Look at Italy.
They just went out.
They all live together.
Yep.
They all live together and they hang together. Nothing wrong with that. That's how people are where I came from.
They're supposed to live
in a basement. Your grandmother and grandfather live in a basement. Your parents live on the second floor and you live on the third floor. Boom. We hang out together. The Footscroll family. God bless them. From Freehold, New Jersey. They lost 4 people. from a family reunion, they went to like a.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And I saw that one. I saw the one that the guy had the 39th birthday, 40th birthday.
That's so sad.
Planes afterward, and they went to different parts of the country.
The family from New Jersey was not very old either.
No.
The youngest one that died, I think, was 55. I think someone.
What?
Do I have the mask on? Am I jumping up and down at Ralph's buying groceries? No. Am I going? I stopped. You know, I went to one boxing class after that.
What happened?
It was announced, and I was like, you know what?
You know why? You know why? You know why? Hey, that dummy, that dummy, hey, that dummy, hey, that dummy, I hate that dummy, baby. Hey, that baby dummy, hey, that baby dummy, that baby so happy.
Nothing. You don't need any equipment. You just do burpees and push-ups and bodyweight squats and lunges. There's plenty of working out to do, folks, and it's free. It's a beautiful thing about YouTube. There's so many really good fitness instructors that just put their stuff out there for free because they want people to follow them. And you know, you can get a ton of great bodyweight workouts. You don't need nothing. And if you need weights, folks, you can pick shit up around your house and you can do a great workout with. I'm sure you got a can of paint somewhere that probably weighs 15 pounds. You know, people have things laying around.
So you know what I started doing?
What?
Because it was fucking with me meditating. I had to go back to meditating.
What do you do? What kind of meditating you do?
So what I do is I hit the bag. I broke my workout. Because now you can't do that long workout now. Because we're going to do for the other day, for the restoration day, the recovery day.
Right.
So there's no recovery in my world.
Just
so
easy workouts every
15 minutes.
Yeah, nice.
In the bag. In the bag is very essential.
Yeah, nice.
In the bag is very essential. Get the yayas out.
Get the yayas out.
You're punching. You look at anything, benefits over 40 for boxing, benefits over 50. The number one benefit is stress. You know, for a couple of days there, dog, I was getting scared. Yeah. I'm not scared of it, but I respect it. There's a big difference. I respect what's going on. Something's going on. I'm not a fucking scientist.
Have you ever been here in an earthquake?
Yes.
For me, it's the same feeling, but more magnified. It's like, okay, this is all right, but what is it like if it gets worse?